They were told to hide, to be silent, to erase themselves just to survive. But they refused. They chose truth over fear and love over shame. Across Africa, hearts once silenced began to speak stories of pain, courage, and pride. They stood tall when the world turned away, and their voices became light in the darkest places. This is not just a story about fame, it's a story about freedom, about love that never apologizes, and about the power of being yourself no matter what the world says. In South Africa, Somizi Mlango isn't just a celebrity, he's a cultural revolution. From the moment he stepped onto a stage as a young performer, the world could feel it, the energy, the confidence, the sparkle that refused to fade. Somizi danced, acted, and laughed his way into the hearts of millions. But behind the laughter was a long fight for acceptance. In a country still healing from the wounds of apartheid and wrestling with rigid ideas of masculinity, Somizi stood up and said, "This is who I am." He didn't whisper it, he sang it, danced it, lived it. As a choreographer, actor, and judge on Idol's SA, he showed that you can be masculine and feminine, powerful and soft, fierce and kind all at once. When he came out publicly, it wasn't just a personal moment, it was a national awakening. For many young Africans, Somizi was the first openly gay person they ever saw on TV, proud and unafraid. His flamboyant fashion, sharp humor, and authenticity broke the mold of what a man was supposed to be. Somizi became more than a public figure, he became a symbol of liberation, reminding Africa that freedom is not just political, it's personal. Lesizwe Dambuza's story begins in the township of Soweto, a place known for struggle and resilience. Growing up, he was the kid who made everyone laugh, even when he didn't feel like laughing himself. The jokes were his armor, the laughter his escape. But instead of hiding his truth, Lesizwe transformed it into his superpower. He built a YouTube empire from scratch, creating comedic skits that expose the humor and pain of everyday African life. His charisma and sharp timing made him an instant favorite, but what truly made him stand out wasn't just his comedy, it was his honesty. He spoke openly about being gay, about family rejection, and about the courage it takes to be visible in a culture that often tells you to disappear. Every video, every interview, every laugh became an act of quiet rebellion. Lesizwe showed that queer Africans could be joyful, creative, and loved, not just tolerated. His visibility on social media gave a new generation of LGBTQ+ youth permission to dream, to exist, and to smile without shame. Today, Lesizwe isn't just a comedian. He's a storyteller, an influencer, and a beacon of self-acceptance. He turned pain into laughter, and laughter into power. Leila Babirye's story is one of transformation not just of art, but of spirit. Born in Uganda, she discovered her love for sculpture and painting early on, but as her identity as a lesbian became known, life turned dangerous. Uganda's anti-LGBTQ laws meant that her existence was seen as a crime. When a mob came after her, Leila had no choice but to flee. She found refuge in New York, a city that welcomed her with open arms but also reminded her of what she had lost. In exile, she began to create again, this time using discarded materials from the streets, wood, metal, wire, debris. From the forgotten and the broken, she built beauty. Her sculptures, powerful, bold, and haunting, tell the stories of queer Africans who never had the chance to speak. Each piece stands as a survivor, just like her. "My art," she once said, "is my protest." Through her work, Leila gives voice to the silenced, dignity to the erased, and hope to the invisible. She transforms pain into permanence, a reminder that even in exile, the heart remembers home. Today, her art is displayed in galleries around the world, carrying with it a single message: you can destroy our homes, but never our humanity. Albert Nabanibo's courage came not from fame, but from faith. As a gospel singer in Rwanda, his voice was known for its purity, full of hope, love, and devotion. But behind the music was a secret that weighed heavily on his heart. When he finally came out as gay, it wasn't to make headlines, it was to make peace with himself and with God. "I'm still the same man," he said softly. "I just want to live honestly." Those words echoed far beyond Rwanda's borders. In a region where homosexuality is often criminalized or condemned, Albert's honesty was nothing short of revolutionary. He lost nearly everything: friends, colleagues, even the respect of his church community. but he refused to lose himself. In the silence that followed his confession, something powerful happened. People began to talk. His bravery opened doors for dialogue about faith, love, and inclusion. His story proved that spirituality and sexuality are not opposites. They can coexist beautifully in truth. Albert's journey became a quiet song of resistance, teaching that real faith isn't about fear, it's about freedom. Bolu Okupe was born into privilege, the son of a powerful Nigerian political advisor. But even privilege couldn't protect him from the weight of expectation. In 2021, with one photograph, Bolu made history. He wrapped himself in the rainbow flag and declared to the world, "I am who I am." In Nigeria, a country where being gay can lead to imprisonment or worse, that image was an act of rebellion. Overnight, Bolu became both celebrated and condemned, a symbol of defiance to some and of hope to many more. The outrage from his homeland was loud, but his confidence was louder. Today, Bolu uses his platform to speak about self-acceptance, mental health, and the beauty of queer African identity. He travels, he educates, and he inspires others to love themselves fearlessly, even when the world refuses to understand. He once said, "You can't live for fear, you must live for truth." And through that truth, Bolu has become a new kind of revolutionary one, armed not with anger, but with pride. Zanele Muholi doesn't just take photographs, they bear witness. Through their black and white portraits, they capture the power, pain, and pride of Black LGBTQ+ South Africans. Each image is a statement: we exist, we have always existed. Zanele's camera is both shield and sword, a tool of resistance and remembrance. For decades, their work has challenged how queer Africans are seen, portrayed, and remembered. Their art doesn't beg for acceptance, it commands recognition. They once said, "I'm not photographing victims, I'm photographing survivors." And that's exactly what their portraits radiate: survival, joy, defiance, and life. Zanele has exhibited around the world, yet their mission remains deeply personal: to honor the queer bodies, faces, and spirits that colonial history tried to erase. Through their lens, invisibility becomes impossible. Their work reminds the world that Black queer love is not just beautiful, it's sacred. Koleka Patuma doesn't just write poetry, she writes revolution. Her words burst from the page like thunder, shaking the foundations of culture, gender, and faith. In her award-winning book, Collective Amnesia, she rewrote what African poetry could be: bold, queer, and unapologetically female. Her voice is both tender and terrifyingly powerful. She speaks about love, desire, religion, and the silence that often surrounds them. Her poems are not quiet confessions, they are war cries disguised as lullabies. "We were born into silence," she writes, "but we will die in laughter." Through her performances, Koleka turns stages into sanctuaries where women, queer people, and dreamers can breathe freely. She is part of a new generation of African thinkers who refuse to separate art from activism. Koleka's pen is her weapon, her rhythm is her rebellion, and her words are freedom set on fire. Through her art, she reminds us that poetry can heal what politics breaks, and that sometimes survival itself is the most radical poem of all. Koreondu is more than an artist, he's a world builder. Born into a powerful Angolan family, he could have lived comfortably behind the walls of privilege, but Koreon chose the harder path to challenge his society through art, creativity, and truth. Singer, designer, filmmaker, every part of his work is a statement. His music blends Angolan rhythms with global sounds, celebrating African identity while breaking away from tradition. His fashion designs glow with color, individuality, and pride. His films explore gender, freedom, and the complexities of self-expression. In a country where queerness is still whispered about, Koreon never hid. He stood tall, confident, elegant, untouchable, using art to spark conversation. His presence alone became political. A gay man who refused to apologize for existing beautifully. Over the years, Koreon has mentored young artists, pushing them to embrace authenticity and originality. For many queer Angolans, he's not just a celebrity, he's a symbol of what's possible. He proves that you can be African, queer, and proud, and still lead with excellence, creativity, and heart. Koreondu's story reminds us that art isn't just about creation, it's about courage. Every song, every design, every frame he produces is a love letter to freedom. Katlego Kai Kolonyane Kasipile isn't just a performer, she's a pioneer who changed what visibility means in Botswana. As the country's first openly transgender public figure, she wears her truth with pride, grace, and unwavering purpose. A writer, theater maker, and activist, she calls herself a cultural architect, and that's exactly what she is, building bridges between identity, art, and humanity. In a society where being trans is still heavily misunderstood, Katlego chose not to hide, but to create. Through spoken word, performance art, and advocacy, she has redefined what it means to be both African and transgender. Her voice shakes rooms, her presence demands respect, and her courage gives others permission to breathe freely. Katlego doesn't fight with anger, she transforms with beauty. Every poem, every performance, every conversation is a step toward a future where gender diversity isn't feared, but celebrated. She once said, "My existence is an act of defiance and design." And in that design, she's sketching the blueprint for a freer Africa. Football is often seen as a man's world full of pride, ego, and silence. But Fudi Lekolone, known to fans as Fudi Minaj, shattered that silence. As South Africa's first openly gay male professional footballer, he didn't just step onto the field, he stepped into history. The moment he came out, he faced mockery, insults, and rejection from teammates, fans, and even sponsors. In a sport where hyper-masculinity dominates, his honesty was considered a threat. But Fudi refused to hide who he was. With every save, every dive, every cheer from those who saw his courage, he proved that bravery isn't measured in goals, but in authenticity. Today, Fudi stands as a symbol of resilience for queer athletes around the world. He mentors young players, speaks against homophobia in sports, and reminds fans that strength doesn't come from pretending, it comes from showing up as yourself. He once said, "I may not be everyone's favorite goalkeeper, but I'll always be my truest self." And in that truth lies his victory.